Cujo Kazula Lewis lived from 1840 to 1935. This is the last known survivor of the last known slave ship to enter the United States. Circa 1859, Cujo Lewis, a native of the Yoruba tribe in what is now the West African country of Benin, was one of 100 African men and women purchased and brought across the Atlantic to Mobile, Alabama, aboard the slave ship Clotilde. After a period of de facto slavery, Mr. Lewis and other members of the Clotilde group became free and organized a community in Plateau, part of today's Africatown Historic District. They form a self-governing society and established the Old Baptist Church, which is now known as the Union Baptist Church of Plateau. Mr. Lewis married Celia Abil Lewis, another Clotilde survivor, with whom he had several children. He was known for working diligently to keep and share the group's epic history. Upon his death, he was laid to rest in nearby Old Plateau Cemetery, where a commemorative marker may be found. This memorial honoring Mr. Lewis and the survivors of the Clotilde was made possible through the efforts of the Union Baptist Church and the generosity of donors spanning race and creed. May the example set by Cujo Lewis and the Clotilde group inspire all citizens of humanity to choose perseverance and hope in the face of tremendous adversity. And this was sculpted by April Livingston in 2016. Long live Cujo Lewis. Good afternoon, good people. This your boy P9 reporting to you live from downtown Mobile, Alabama. And I'm gonna start this vlog off here on Church Street at the corner of Church Street and St. Emmanuel Street. And what we have right here is the Christ Church Cathedral. It goes an historic building that was established in 1822. Now, Mobile, Alabama was established in 1702. It was founded in 1702, and the city of Mobile is actually older than the United States of America and the state of Alabama. So it's an extremely old city. We're talking over 300 years old. So there is a boatload of history associated with the city of Mobile. It was under control under the French, the British, and the Spanish in multiple parts of history. But when it was founded in 1702, it was under the rule of the French in the colony of French Louisiana. As you can see right here, this is a marker with lynching in America. So between 1865 and 1950, and there were at least 6,500 blacks that were lynched in the South. And in 1865, newspapers reported that white mobs burned black churches and homes in Mobile, and that 138 blacks were killed in Alabama over the course of several months. In 1869, riots in Mobile left at least 3 blacks killed whose names were not identified. So of course, it's a lot of history right here, but just like a multitude of other cities across the South, there was just a lot of lynchings that took place. Mobile was no exception. Here's a statue of King Felix III, who was first crowned in 1872 by the Mobile Carnival Association. So again, you're going to see a lot of historical figures who are of French heritage. And right here is a vestige of the second Fort Condé. So this is Fort Condé, which was built by the French in 1723 and later occupied by the British, Spanish, and the Americans. These foundations are the only architectural remains of colonial Mobile. So again, this was the 1700s when Mobile was established and it basically emerged. And these are a multitude of statues of individuals. Like you have one of African American heritage, one of early American heritage, Spanish colonial, British colonial, French colonial, Native American. So this is part of Fort Condé right here, just this open park over here, as you can see. And this is Chief Slaka Bomarenko, portrayed by Joe Kane, who revived Mobile's Mardi Gras in 1866 by parading through the streets on Fat Tuesday. So just to give a little history of the Mardi Gras actually started in Mobile. So I know everybody, particularly a lot of people, know the Mardi Gras for being in New Orleans. That's the popular Mardi Gras, but there's a Mardi Gras that takes place in Mobile every year as well, and their Mardi Gras was before New Orleans' Mardi Gras. It's just New Orleans Mardi Gras became the more famous of the two. Mobile is actually a couple decades older than New Orleans, so that's another, but they're virtually, you know, about the same age almost the same age in regards to how old the cities are. And like Mobile, New Orleans has a lot of French architecture and things of that nature. And as you can see right here, this is the fort of colonial Mobile. So as you can see, this is the British cannon that was established in 1760 from Fort Charlotte. And the Spanish cannon in 1710, excavated at the site of the King's Wharf. Okay. So this is looks like a museum. Has a lot of exhibits on the site in behind that gate, but it's closed. But I'm gonna keep going more into the downtown area, as I'm now on Royal Street. Now this building right here is the History Museum of Mobile, and it was originally the City Hall of Mobile, but now the History Museum of Mobile occupies this building. And the Mobile City Hall actually opened up in 1857. It was erected by Nicholas Holmes, who was the architect, and the contractor was Ray Sumlin Construction Company. So this building was erected in 1857, but restored in 1982. And would eventually house the History Museum of Mobile. So Mobile is the county seat of Mobile County, and in just last year, 2023, Mobile annexed a large area west of the city limits of Mobile, meaning that the population, it gained a lot of population, and its population was enough to put Mobile as the second most populated city in the state of Alabama, behind Huntsville. So it surpassed Birmingham. And there's a marker with Mobile's first Mardi Gras parade, which took place on Shrove Tuesday of February 25th of 1868. And it was at this intersection of Royal and Government Street. And it also made its way on Dauphin, north on Joaquin, and west on State, south on Claiborne. So it took a path pretty much throughout the entire downtown of Mobile. And this was back in the 1860s, so of course they were traveling via horseback. Wanted to come over here and get this. This is a statue of the trumpeter. Musicians and bands create the sounds of carnival in the birthplace of Mardi Gras, Mobile. So surrounding this park is a multitude of statues. I want to get this one as well. There's a statue of King a Lexus. And this one is of the Queen of Mamga. And this was the Gracious Majesty, first crowned in 1840. So a lot of cool history just right here on this Fort Condi block. But now I'm getting ready to make my way further into the city because there's definitely a lot more to take in. And that side of that building as well over here is called the Explorium Museum. Now I'm on Royal Street. Couple of restaurants, and there's a live music venue over there called Veets, and you could tell, and you can see right here in Veets, it's housed in a building that is definitely from the 1800s, and it has the cast iron balcony and poles right there. So again, it has a lot of similarities to French architecture, which you commonly see right here in Mobile as well as in New Orleans. So if you look at New Orleans, you'll see a lot of similarities to Mobile. Those two cities are very architecturally similar. But this building right here is the Renaissance Mobile Riverfront Plaza Hotel. And it was originally the Battle House Hotel. There's also a Hampton Inn Hotel over here. So a couple of hotels on Royal Street. goes another building surrounded by the cast iron. And right now I'm on Dauphin Street. Go down this way. You guys see this building right here is the RSA tower. RSA being short for the Retirement Systems of Alabama. And they're the owners of this building. Now this building was completed in 2006. And that building, with the completion of that building, it became the tallest building in Alabama. And again, this was 2006. And prior to that, it was the shipped building in Birmingham that had that title. And what's interesting about Mobile is Mobile doesn't have a ton of skyscrapers. They don't have very many skyscrapers in the downtown. But the one that they do have is the tallest building in the state. I find that very interesting. But it functions as the Battle House and Renaissance Hotel, which you can see right over here. Now this building over here where they're doing construction, it looks like they're doing construction in front of it and on the sidewalks as well. They have the sidewalk blocked off, but this building is the Mobile Convention Center. I'm over here at the Hank Aaron Loop, getting ready to take a walk down St. Francis Street. Now Hammerin' Hank Aaron is a native of Mobile. He played 23 seasons in the Major League Baseball. He spent 21 of those seasons with the Milwaukee/Atlanta Braves, and his last two seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers. But Hank Aaron broke the long-standing Major League Baseball record for career home runs held by Babe Ruth. And he had that home run title up until Barry Bonds broke his total of 755 home runs in 2007. So Hank Aaron was such a great hitter that within an 18-year span between 1955 and 1973, he averaged 24 home runs a year within that span. So that's very impressive. I just had to give a shout out to the Mobile native and Hall of Famer in the majors, Hank Aaron. As I'm now on St. Francis Street. And this is this is the Battle House Hotel, which was built in 1908. But this particular structure replaced the Battle House Hotel that was originally built in 1852. That structure was burned in 1905. And it was one of the earliest steel frame structures in Alabama. So this right here is a very historic building. And they too have a couple of cast irons on the side of the building. I'm at the corner of St. Francis and Royal Street. And this building right here is the RSA Trustmark building. So this is another tall structure in downtown.
Wait around while I park.
Now this park right here is called Bienville Square. Bienville Square was named for Mobile's founder, John Baptiste Lemoyne Sieur de Bienville. And it's been a public park since 1824, when the Congress of the U.S. transferred a large plot of the land of Mobile to the city of Mobile, on the condition that Mobile would specify this and use it as a city park. So here goes a fountain right here, a beautiful fountain. Wish I could dive right into the cold water because it is extremely hot, but that is prohibited, so yeah. But this is a beautiful park though. It's really nice over here. I think I'm coming to the part of downtown Mobile where there's going to be a huge slew of restaurants and bars. Hey, check this out. This is called Loda, and the artist is Ginger Wochan. Oysters spawn when water temperatures rise above 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, nice. It's an oyster with a painting of the city of Mobile and all its historical structures. Again, the artist is Ginger Wochan, and it's called Loda, L-O-D-A. The Downtown Mobile District Management Court sponsored that art piece, so beautiful piece of art right there. So now I'm over here on Dauphin Street. Now this is a very historical street because I hear a lot of people when they talk about Mobile, downtown Mobile, they say Dauphin Street is the hangout spot basically because of all the live music venues, restaurants, and multitude of stores, souvenir shops. I mean, you name it, everything is right here at Dauphin Street. So I can imagine how it is at night, especially during Mardi Gras weekend. They have a Mexican restaurant right there. It's extremely hot.
Ooh, it's hot outside.
Yeah, it's extremely hot out here. Being that today's Thursday, I noticed that there are a lot of these breweries and taverns that have happy hour. It's just a little after 3 o'clock, so that's probably where a lot of people are right now. So I'm now on Joachim Street. I need to have these fans on. This right here is the Sanger Theater, located on Dauphin Street. And on January 19th, 1927, Sanger Street opened and it became Mobile's Palace of Entertainment. So it still is the entertainment center mainly in downtown Mobile, but it's right here on Dauphin Street. So as you can see, they have an array of events coming up in September. They even have Christmas plays, symphonies, and a bunch of, and also the orchestra plays here, the Mobile Symphony Orchestra. So the Sanger hosts a lot of events in this historic downtown. I wanted to get this marker. It commemorates Wallace Turnage, who was a 17-year-old slave in 1864 who was owned by a merchant by the name of Collier Minge, whose house stood on this site. So Turnage escaped wartime Mobile by walking 25 miles down the western shore of Mobile Bay. After surviving 3 weeks in the Foul River estuary, he paddled a rowboat into the bay. Wallace was saved from drowning by sailors in a Union Navy gunboat. In late August 1864, he was taken to Fort Gaines and freed. Turnage's heroic emancipation was one of the most dramatic for African Americans in the Civil War. He later lived in New York City, where he wrote his rare narrative discovered in 2003 and published in 2007 in the book A Slave No More. Through bravery and determination on his fifth attempt to escape, Turnage seized his own freedom. Yeah, that's legendary right there. Dude literally walked 25 miles to his freedom. I mean, yes, he drowned. He almost drowned. And he was saved by some sailors in the Union Army. But shoot, I mean, that's dedication right there. And then would later write a book about it. That was the first time I ever heard of Wallace Turnage. Again, a lot of times when I come to these cities, I learn about new historical figures. This is why I love doing what I do. Now I'm over here at the corner of Conti and Jackson. That house right there, I wonder if that's like a museum or something. Let me go check it out real quick. Okay, I figured this was a historical site. It's called the Gesnard House. It's located on South Jackson Street. And it was established in 1859. But look at that French architecture that I was telling you about. And you can also tell by a lot of the architecture here, the framework of these buildings, that this is a old 17th or 18th century city. This building right here is the Government Street Presbyterian Church, established in 1831. And it was founded with 21 members in 1831 by Reverend John B. Warren, but the sanctuary was erected in 1834. So again, this is the Government Street Presbyterian Church.
Wait. Walk sign or cross. Walk sign.
Oh, look at that building right there. That's a Holiday Inn hotel in a circular, like a cylindrical shaped building. And there's another marker right here. Le Marquis de Lafayette visited Mobile. So it sounds like another Frenchman. On this site stood the home of Mayor Samuel H. Garrow, where the Marquis de Lafayette was entertained on his visit to Mobile, April 7th, 1825. A French officer, statesman, and hero of the American Revolution visited the United States as a guest of the nation in 1824 and 1825. Mobile gave an enthusiastic welcome to the distinguished general. Okay. So again, we're talking early 1800s. So that by then, that was the 19th century. So Mobile is older than the American Revolutionary War. That's how old this city is. It's insane. I think this may have been, well, scratch that. No, this isn't the oldest city that I visited. That title, those titles go to St. Augustine and what's the other one? Pensacola. So Mobile may be thus far the third oldest city that I have vlogged in. Check this out. They have a Mobile Carnival Museum. William and Emily Herron Mobile Carnival Museum. So given the statues out in the front of the museum, it gives basically a history of the Mardi Gras. Extremely old building. And it chronicles over 300 years of carnival and Mardi Gras history in Mobile, Alabama. So the building that it's housed in is called the Bernstein Bush Mansion. As you could tell, it's an extremely big building. The museum itself was established in 2005. But I'm not sure when this building was built. I would guess either late 1700s or somewhere in the early to mid 1800s, if I had to guess. But on Government Street, there's like a lot of historical buildings, like museums that are housed in mansions. A lot of them, you know, well preserved. This park right here is called the Plaza de España, or Mobile Spanish Plaza. And Mobile Spanish Plaza is a part of the East Church Street redevelopment project. And it was created in 1968. The contractor were the Martin Builders. Architect was Dewey Crowder Associates. So this is just basically the Spanish history as it pertains to Mobile. Spain first came to our shores in 1519, and her maps gave first to the world knowledge of our lands, Pineda, de Soto, and then Galvez. So it just gives a little history of Spain. Valencia, Vicente Rodilla Zanon, the sculptor, 1967. Okay. Check this out. Look at this statue right here. Isabel La Católica, 1451 to 1504. So this statue of Isabel La Católica is drenched in beads right here, presumably from the Mardi Gras festival. Here goes the fountains right here, Mobile Spanish Fountain. And here goes the multitude of flags. So these are flags from Spain. And here comes the fountains right here. I gotta show you one of the benches. That's cool how they did this right here. Madrid Fuente de las Pebbles. I'm pronouncing it like I know how to speak Spanish. Sculpture of Bernardo de Galvez, sculpted by Vicente Rodilla Zanon of Valencia in 1967. So he was the governor of the territory of Louisiana and captured Mobile March 1st of 1780, beginning 33 years of the Spanish rule in Mobile. So yeah, he was over Mobile during the Spanish rule. Again, this is Bernardo de Galvez. And last but not least, this is Alphonse X, the Wise. I mean, 1221? Wow. 1221. So this was back in the, this is way before America. But this was sculpted again by Vicente Zanon of Valencia, same year, 1967. Founded multiple schools and was influential in the cultural development of Spain. This is Alphonse X, aka the Wise. So there you have it. This is the Spanish Plaza right here in Mobile, Government Street. Walking down St. Joseph Street. And this building right here is the U.S. Courthouse. A nice sculpture right there, by the way. Called the Rain Bedsole, or it's by Rain Bedsole rather. It's an artist by the name of Rain Bedsole, and the name of the sculpture is called Justicia 2018 Weathering Steel and Stainless Steel. So it's a stainless steel sculpture right here in front of the courthouse. There goes the Alabama Power Building. I'm gonna take a walk down St. Louis Street real quick. On this site right here on St. Louis Street, stood one of the old slave markets. Last cargo of slaves arrived on the schooner Clotilde in August of 1859. That's what we will actually see when I go visit Africatown, which is just north of downtown. So I know it seems like a lot of slave history here in Mobile, guys, but I mean, come on, Mobile is a port city, so it's natural that it would have a lot of history as it pertains to slavery. And it's the slave market right here. After the abolition of international slave trading in 1808, dealers transported slaves from all over the South into Mobile. On this site, Africans were sold as chattel to Southern planters through public auction. Between auctions, a 3-story holding facility housed the slaves until they were displayed and sold. In an attempt to make this inhumane and abhorrent aspect of slavery less conspicuous, the city banned slave depots from the downtown area. A developing rail system eventually made Montgomery, Alabama, the principal slave market. However, planters who sold cotton in Mobile continued to buy and sell slaves in the city. Okay, so they didn't have the depots. And of course, the depots are basically like train stations in essence. So they didn't have, they banned, the city of Mobile banned those. So they basically were trading slaves, but on the low, you know what I'm saying? Just wanted to come over this part of the city. So, more to come, stay tuned. I'm over here on Claiborne Street. And on Claiborne Street, they have what's called the Blind Mule. And they also have a Stables bar right here across the street. And guys, get a load of this building right here. It has the Sphinx in front of it. So it's an African, has the it's like an African sculpture right here. I don't even know the name of this building. It doesn't say, but it definitely has ancient Egypt written all over it as far as the architectural style. Okay, some murals of some important figures in Mobile history. It's like a black sailor right here, or African American woman sailor. And this is the guy, I think his name was Leonard Johnson or something like that. This is the guy who invented the Super Soaker. He's from Mobile. Super Soaker, by the way, is like one of the most famous toys of all time. So the dude made a fortune off of that. Check this out right here. This park is called the Cathedral Square. This park was established in 1996. Plenty of shade over here too. Check out this mural right here. By Lovin', it's called Lovin' Light by Jen Woe. Mobile has a museum of art right here, right across from Cathedral Square Park, at the corner of Jackson and Dauphin Street. It's a souvenir shop called Bienville. gonna turn around and go back down Dauphin Street. I think it's a music hall across the street. It's called the Soul Kitchen. I think I came down this way already.
guy that did all he could do now. Mike that did all he could do.
It's an interesting building right over here. Wonder what occupies that building. Oh, it's just a few law firms. Burns, Cunningham, and Mackey attorneys at law. And this is over here on the corner of Conti and St. Emmanuel Street. This right here is the Admiral Hotel. I'm over here on Government Street. And I was wondering what that building was over there earlier, but this is actually the Mobile Government Plaza. A cool sculpture right here. It's called the Three Sisters. The artist is Charles Smith, fabricator William F. Coburn Jr. And it represents loyalty, prosperity, and justice. And it was dedicated on July 25th, 2011. Now, Government Street, you see where all these cars are going? They're actually going into a tunnel called the Bankhead Tunnel. Let me get this part over here. Just the seals for the County of Mobile, 1812, the City of Mobile, 1702. And this is the state seal of Alabama. So it sits on those monuments right outside the Government Plaza building. This is a marker that represents the Mobile Bar Association, Alabama's first bar association, which was organized on March 29th, 1869. And here are the original members of the bar association. The office of Dr. Henry S. Levert, son of Dr. Claude Levert, fleet surgeon under Rochambeau. So Dr. Henry Levert was a physician from 1829 to 1864 who came to Virginia as a fleet surgeon under General Rochambeau. And this Italianate style building served as an office, the doctor's office, for 100 years, from 1858 to 1954. So here it is right here. This is the actual doctor's office building. Okay. Lots and lots of history associated with Mobile, Alabama. I am in the Africatown neighborhood, and it is north of Mobile, Alabama, about 3 miles north of downtown Mobile. And the Africatown neighborhood is also called Plateau. And it was here in this neighborhood where in 1860 there were a multitude of slaves that were transported to this part of Mobile, primarily from West Africa, and they were smuggled into Mobile on a ship called the Clotilda, which is a slave ship. And during that time, you know, slavery was outlawed, and so they were smuggled in illegally, of course. As you can see right over here, this is the Old Plateau Africatown Cemetery, which was established in 1876. And there goes the cemetery over here. And here's the marker commemorating the Old Plateau Cemetery graveyard for Africatown. And this is just the resting place for a multitude of enslaved Africans, African Americans, and a Buffalo Soldier. The burial ground dates back to 1876, 16 years after Africans arrived on the Clotilda, which was one of the last documented slave ships to leave Africa for the Americas. The northern area of the graveyard is the older section where the remains of Clotilda survivors have been found through an archaeological preservation project directed by the College of William and Mary. The historic annals of Africatown are chiseled upon tombstones in this graveyard. So again, you know, this area was established primarily by the slaves who were brought over here, again, illegally, but they managed to find a way to make use of it because they end up ultimately establishing a community and a neighborhood, you know. And as far as we know, there still may be like descendants of those slaves still living, possibly here in Mobile. Over here in Africatown, and right here is the historic Union Missionary Baptist Church. And this is a landmark that was built in 1869. And as you can see right here, it's a marker for the church, which was organized in 1869 as the Old Landmark Baptist Church by Reverend Henry McCrae and the following survivors of the slave ship Clotilda, which was Polly Allen, Rose Allen, Katie Cooper, Anna Keeby, Alza Keeby, Josephina Lee, Peter Lee, Charles Lewis, Celia Lewis, Cujo Lewis, Zuma Livingstone, and Clara Turner. The first pastor was Henry Watson. The church evolved from historic Stone Street Baptist Church and was built on the location known as the Praying Ground. In 1903, it was renamed Union Baptist Church. A sanctuary was constructed in 1918 and served as the first school for Magazine Point, presently known as Africatown. The African roots continue to nourish the spirit of this community. This is the African American Heritage Trail of Mobile. And here's just a list of all the founders of the Union Baptist Church. So again, all of these slaves, they ultimately created a community away from their homeland, and ultimately the church became one of the staples and a safe haven for the community of Africatown, which again at that time was called Magazine Point. This old building right here is called the Shell Bayou Lounge 361. So they had a lodge right here, which was organized in 1923. So now the street that I'm on is Africatown Boulevard. It's located near I-10 and the I-165 ramp. And again, it's not far from downtown Mobile. Yeah, but check this out. Here's a mural right here. It has Peter Lee, an image of Peter Lee, who again was one of the founding members of Union Missionary Church. And here goes like a family tree right here of Peter and Josephine Lee. And it looks like a family tree of their kids and their grandchildren. So that's nice. I like the design. It has the clouds right here, and it also has what looks like the river. This is a very historic area of, very historic neighborhood of Mobile. And again, here goes Cujo Lewis and the voyage of the Clotilda. And here is the slave ship of Clotilda, who illicitly brought all these slaves from West Africa. So it arrived between 1859 and 1860, 110 souls. So again, really nice design. there. And that over there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but over there is the Africatown Bridge, where you see all these cars coming from. They are crossing that Africatown Bridge. It looks like a cable-stayed bridge that stands over the Mobile River. So that bridge leads right into Africatown. But that in a nutshell sums up the Africatown neighborhood. So stay tuned for more footage. P.S. I didn't see a name on the mural, so I had to Google it, and the artist is actually a brother by the name of LeBaron Lewis, who I presume is, based on his last name, is one of the descendants of Peter Lee Lewis. So I'm not, or excuse me, not Peter Lee Lewis, but Cujo Lewis. So LeBaron Jones is the artist of this beautiful mural. I just wanted to get that in there. This here is the historic Oakleigh House, which is a 1833 Greek Revival style home built by Virginian James W. Roper. Oakleigh has been owned by many different families, each of them working and making their own changes to the property. And as you can see over here, this is the property. Again, it was built in 1833 by James Roper, and it was named for all the oak trees surrounding the home. And this home was built on land that was courtesy of a Spanish land grant. So this is just another one of Mobile's historic buildings. Again, this is the Oakleigh Mansion. This right here is the Bragg Mitchell Mansion, which was built for Judge John Bragg in 1855. The supervising architect was Thomas James. After 1880, it was owned by Pratt, Upham, and Frank Davis families. Acquired 1925 by A.S. Mitchells, who restored the house and lived here for 40 years. So again, this is the Bragg Mitchell Mansion, built in 1855, and yet another antebellum structure historically located here in Mobile. This stadium right here, opened in 1948, is Lad Pebbles Memorial Stadium. And it is now 76 years old, so it is super old, but it is still in use to this day. Now the Senior Bowl is hosted at Lad Pebbles Stadium, and it used to be the home of the Lending Tree Bowl and the University of South Alabama's Jaguars football team. But they since moved to a stadium on campus that was constructed for them a few years back, called the Hancock Whitney Stadium. But this is Lad Pebbles Stadium right here in Mobile, which now has a seating capacity of 33,471. So it was also used for high school football games, graduations, and boxing matches and concerts. So it served as a multi-purpose stadium. I'm over here in Langan Park, located in the Spring Hill portion of the city of Mobile. Langan Park is a public park that is 720 acres big, opened in 1957 and named for a former mayor and state senator and city commissioner of Alabama by the name of Joseph Langan. Now this park also is the location of multiple sites such as the Mobile Botanical Gardens, the Mobile Museum of Art. It has a golf course. And yeah, those are just a few of the major sites that are on the premises of Langan Park. So you can see right here, it's a stream that floats into that lake over there. Has a nice little walking trail around. Has a nice walking trail around the park as well. There's a playground, of course. Just an overall chill place to hang out, have family functions and events, all those different things. It's also a good place to go fishing. We have a nice little sculpture right here. 3 children. Check this out. Sheet music for Bingo and Rockabye Baby. Nice. It's also right here a wooden bridge. This wooden bridge goes across this lake, as you can see. I guess it's really more like a pond. It looks more like a pond than a lake. So I see some ducks out there as well. I believe this might be the museum. Not sure. But what I do know, this right here is a stainless steel sculpture. It's nice. Don't see any information on it. But yes, this is the Mobile Museum of Art. So the Mobile Museum of Art is again on the campus of Langan Park. It's a nicely architected building as well. It looks relatively modern. I'm just going to capture some of the sculptures that are surrounding the building. This is nice. It's a multicolored abstract sculpture. It's all type of different shapes and designs on it, but it's nice. It's really cool. Art is all about expression and interpretation, so that art piece can be interpreted in so many different ways. Nice sculpture of young lady right there, kneeling. This is dope, man. Nice pieces of art. So definitely come check out Langan Park if you're into arts and art exhibits. Mobile Museum of Art is right on the premises of Langan Park, and outside of the Mobile Museum of Art are also these beautiful sculptures. On the campus of the University of South Alabama, created in 1963 by the Alabama legislature. And specifically on the campus, I am over here outside of the Hancock Whitney Stadium, which is home to the University of South Alabama Jaguars football team. And this was a much needed replacement for Pebbles Stadium, which has been aging severely over the course of forever now. This stadium actually opened in 2020, but that was the year of C-19, so it wasn't until 2021 where the Jags played their first game here at the stadium. And outside is the statue of the mascot, the Jaguars mascot right here, sporting the red, white, and blue Jaguars jersey. And they even have a stadium store, so you can get all your Jaguar gear. And not only do they have the stadium right here, they also have a training facility right next to the stadium. You can see right here, this is inside the stadium. Actually looks nice from over here. But over there in that building is the athletic center, where I could hear now the football team is training and getting ready for the upcoming football season. So it won't be too much longer before this stadium opens back up for football season for the 2024 season. Hancock Whitney Stadium. Hey guys, I'm at the USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park, right on the submarine on the Mobile Bay. And this is where I will conclude the Mobile vlog. It was a cool visit in Mobile, Alabama. This is overall my second visit to Mobile, so I'm glad I came back, and it was a really great tour. With that in mind, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. and continue checking out more of my content as we continue to grow. All right, until next time, you guys, peace and have a great day.